This goes out to all the people who don't know about the carbon cycle.
Carbon is a key ingredient in living tissues. This is your first carbon cycle breakdown. We're going to have some issues.
There are three main processes that move carbon into the atmosphere that come from this cycle. Without this cycle, there would be no human survival.
To begin, respiration is very important for our education. It will take a little bit of concentration, but I promise you I'm going to help you solve this equation. All animals and plants use a process called cellular respiration.
Oxygen and carbon are exchanged and the process is restarted with the carbon getting departed. There it is in the atmosphere for a process to take it out. But that will be taught to you later if you're not a complete failure. There is another way for carbon to get up in the air. Have you ever heard of fossil fuels? They cause quite a scare. Here's the problem. It causes global warming. Once they are released in the air, they don't come back, they are in hiding. It appears they are releasing carbon through the process of burning.
Carbon atoms are always in the air, floating with nitrogen and oxygen everywhere. Let me teach you something that you probably don't know, but carbon was the main source of this flow. They cause big problems. When the trees are on fire, they release a ton of carbon, and it can be seen how far the dioxide has been. Here's the last main way for the carbon to get into the atmosphere. It's called volcanic activity. And the main idea is that the carbon gets released through its activity. That's its responsibility. The eruption lets out a lot of gases that are brought into the air. One of them is CO2, which helps the plants in your garden, and you too. Thankfully, it won't stay there all year. Instead, it will come back down here. Now you're probably wondering how that happened. Let me give you a little hint. It rhymes with assist. Yes, photosynthesis. Carbon atoms are always in the air, floating with nitrogen and oxygen everywhere. Let me teach you something that you probably don't know, but carbon was the main source of this flow.
You may think the cycle is all good, but that is where you're wrong. Carbon dioxide is a great cause of global warming, and this is why it's in our song. But there is still more good things than bad. We need it to survive until we go old and mad. We need it for breathing and eating, and it will help us in life until our heart stops beating. It's the main source of genesis for all plants. Glance, just give me a chance to teach you something that we as humans always lack in life. For example, it's the opposite of the process called respiration. Something you may not have known, it's the #1 way to get carbon away. From the atmosphere and back into the process called life. How does this process work? It uses 3 important reactants to create 2 products. What are these reactants? Sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Now for the products. Glucose for the plant and oxygen in the air.
Carbon atoms are always in the air, floating with nitrogen and oxygen everywhere. Let me teach you something that you probably don't know, but carbon was the main source of this flow.